friends. I just watched the B movie for some reason, and you clicked on this video for an even more unexplainable purpose. And now we're going to talk about the B movie. I got some notes here, many of them. First of all, this movie has a lot more incest jokes than I would have expected, and then I remember hearing when I was a child. Just a decent, a healthy number of incest jokes. All these bees are cousins. They're all related somewhat closely, a lot more closely than us humans, even though we are technically all descendant from the same people. Yeah, more than I would have guessed. I'd say about 3 or 4. I'm just going to go down the list of notes here. Secondly, are you B enough? As just a phrase was used once in this movie, and I enjoyed it enough to write it down. Number 3. We're gonna skip number 3 because it just says my brochure, and I forget what that means. I'm pretty sure when we first meet Ken, or one of the very first times that we interact with Ken, I'm assuming you've seen this movie before. Vanessa traps Barry B. Benson, if you're not understanding of this situation. He's the B, the main character. Let me just give you a breakdown of the fucking movie. So you got Barry B. Benson. He's a B, voiced by Jerry Seinfeld. He wants to leave the hive and see the world. He goes with the pollen jocks. These are the bees that pollinate the flowers, at least in this universe. And he discovers, he meets Vanessa because she saves his life. She traps him in a cup. She takes Ken's brochure. You remember Ken. Slides it under the cup, lets him out. Ken says, "My brochure," which is one of the more pleasurable parts of this movie. Barry falls in love with this woman. We'll get to that later and the implications thereof. They go to a grocery store together. He realizes that humans are selling honey, stealing it from the bees, files a lawsuit against all humans, repossesses this honey like a landlord. All the bees stop working. They take their first day off in 27 million years, and the whole world falls apart. And then they land a plane, and then everything's better. So, point number 4, Ken predicted global warming. This is before its time, really. He claims that he felt it getting hotter, and that nobody else believed him. So that's something. Then point number 5, 6, 7, and 8 is the bestiality implications of this film. You got to ask yourself what would happen if Barry B. Benson and Vanessa get together, which I believe they do. I would guess this might even create... First of all, this just seems impossible. I don't understand, obviously, unless these are two asexual creatures here, or if they're in a polygamous relationship. I don't know how they would be able to procreate. If they do manage to pull it off, and I don't know how, I can imagine an entirely new STD, and then I put in the notes in parentheses, or should I say STB? Not incredibly proud of that. Point number 7, it's just sort of a question for the people. Does it count as bestiality if both parties are consenting? Normally, it would be, say, a man going down on, let's call it a pigeon, and up in the air, kind of a gray area whether this pigeon wants it to be going on, probably not. And I figured that's why bestiality was illegal. But then you got to consider the STD thing, which is worth taking into account there. Point number 1, 2, I think it's 9. Bees and humans both speak English in this film, even though they are completely separated societies and bees are forbidden from speaking to humans. This leads me to maybe my main thesis of the video, which is the lore behind this movie. Because you got to think, if they're both speaking the same language and one party completely forbids itself from speaking to the other, there has to be some kind of backstory, some kind of history. I'm thinking there might have been a cooperation between bees and humans in the past if they share the same root language. And it has to not go too far back, because if it goes far back enough, then the language would start deviating if you're looking at etymological patterns regarding speech. Specifically accents and slang terms. We have the exact same American accents that they're speaking and the exact same slang terms, more or less, with some meaningful deviation. RUB enough is a new one. There's probably more that I can think of, but I'm just not going to name any more examples because I don't care. So I'm thinking there had to have been some kind of rift, some kind of a great schism, similar to the schism dividing the Catholic Church in the Middle Ages. Something as substantial as that. Substantial enough that no humans remember what happened, because they're all so surprised that the bees are speaking. So maybe there was some high technology, advanced technology going on here that kept the humans from remembering what happened. And I would love to see a character like a Graham Stephan make an archaeology video in this universe predicting all of this stuff, and it being one of the few things that he's right about. I actually don't know whether Graham Stephan is right about what the things he says. Not smart enough. I just know that a lot of people disagree with him. This is point number 10. Barry B. Benson is really upset about the fact that he has to be a bee. He doesn't really fuck with bees. He fucks with humans a lot more. And there's a scene where they're like, "What? You know what you got to do, Barry?" And Barry says, he's got these sunglasses on. He's like, "I got to start thinking bee," reluctantly. So that was a notable event. Something else worth noting here. I'd just like to remind you again that this is a children's movie. Barry is telling his friend, what the hell is his name? The guy with the glasses and the suit. He's really excited to work as a bee. Barry tells him about Vanessa and how he met someone. And his friend says, "Are they bee-ish?" "Oh, hello, Lavender. Would you like to come? You want to explore?" Okay. He asks, "Are they bee-ish?" And then he says, "Not a wasp. Your parents will kill you. I just hope she's bee-ish." his parents say. So now we're working up some kind of racial connotations here in the B movie, some kind of backbone of darkness here that's kind of interesting. I'm gonna need to close the door, so just give me 2 seconds while I do this. All right, I'm coming back. Oh god, so many of you probably clicked off the video. I don't fucking give a shit. Ray Liotta is involved for some reason. He has a honey company. Ray Liotta is from Goodfellas, by the way. He plays the main character. And during the trial where Barry's suing the human race, he says, "This isn't a good fella. This is a bad fella." Because he is a honeypreneur, honeymeister. Another one of my really favorite characters in this movie would be the mosquito that Barry encounters on the truck, on the windshield. The people driving the car turn on the windshield wipers because there's too many bugs on the windshield. And the mosquito says, "Why does everything have to be so doggone clean?" And he gets really pissed off. I really love that guy. I think it's Chris Rock voicing this character, and he's just the highlight of this entire movie. Can I just say that this is like point number 15. This is an unironically a good movie. I enjoyed watching this movie. I didn't watch this ironically. I did, but then I actually watched it, and I fucking loved the shit out of it. I really enjoyed this film. Another one of my favorite scenes is the sword fight. There's this dude working for Honey Farms, a honey company, honey distributor, dealer, and he grabs a push pin and he sword fights Barry B. Benson, and Barry's using his stinger and they're going back and forth. It was nuts, dude. Now my favorite scene in the entire movie is Vanessa kicks Ken out of the house because Ken's being kind of a bitch. He's kind of being a little dickhead to Barry B. Benson. And Ken's getting kicked out, and he says, "But it's our yogurt night. It's our yogurt night." And she slams the door on him, and he says, "Why is yogurt night so difficult?" And forward throughout the movie, he just keeps lamenting about the loss of yogurt night. You can tell that it's very special to him. And it's heartbreaking, really, that he loses it. You got Sting from the Police making an appearance here, being questioned for his use of honeybee culture in his stage name. After the lawsuit is over, his legal right to coin the term is revoked. He's no longer allowed to call himself Sting. He has to use his government name. This is just a tragic film. And then when Barry's about to win the case, this is about point 20. The defendant lawyer, who's this Southern guy, he makes fun of bee incest and the fact that Barry doesn't actually have parents, even though in the movie he has parents, because there's kind of a fourth wall break almost. They're acknowledging the fact that Barry has parents, even though the queen is who gives birth to all of the bees in the colony. This really pisses off Barry's friend, who I'm so sorry I'm blanking on the name of. This guy just stings the shit out of the defendant lawyer, our southern portly man. I believe he's voiced by John Goodman, if I'm not mistaken. This is a star-studded cast, by the way. I don't know why. I don't know what reason, but they got a hell of a crew together. And then near the end of the trial, Barry, quote, plays the species card when discussing the subjection of the bee species on the rest of the world by humans. And my last point that I have to make in this video is that when the defendant lawyer, I completely forget his name too. I don't know if he's ever given a name. When he gets stung, he goes, I'm hit, and he makes a real big deal out of it. And then he bounces his thick, delicious ass on screen, and it is the most round, juicy, bubblesome posterior I've ever seen in my life. And I'm going to end the video there. So my name is Luke. This is Castles in the Air. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did.